now running an agency that is known for its creativity for years, the Leo Burnett Company, is a man that's not only a creative lead, but also a tech and entrepreneurial fellow. And I'd like to bring him up. Andrew Swinand, please come to the audience. How you doing? There's Andrew. Great.
Thank you.
See you, Andrew.
Great to see you.
Andrew was in our dialogue last night. He's going to be even smarter today, so go on. Thank you, Andrew.
Well, thank you for having me. Let me find the clicker here. So happy to be here today. I actually think this is the first time I've ever presented with a balcony, so a little bit something different. And we actually have a team from the Masters here, too. So I don't know all the guys in the green jacket up front here, but they must be good golfers. But anyway, excited to be here. And what I want to talk about today is an idea that Leo Burnett had many, many years ago. And the center of it is this idea that what helps people helps business. And one of the things I think is really interesting today is, I worked as a marketing director at P&G in the 90s. And basically the idea was we would do a lot of TV because TV worked, right? And the thing you would do a focus group with 7 people, and someone would say blue. Blue is the thing. And then you'd be like, everyone else in the room would agree and say, yeah, blue. And then you spend an entire year spending tens of millions of dollars on blue and TV because you knew that worked. You know, we live in a world today where consumers are actually telling us what they want. They're telling us what they want with 3.5 billion searches a day in the US. They're telling us what they want. And the thing is we have the ability, more than ever before, to actually know what people want and listen. And I think the thing and the challenge is most brands don't. Most brands are doing and running advertising the same way they've run it in the past. And I think actually for most people, it's kind of doing what you've always done before. And I think a lot of marketers are forced to choose. You either have, creativity. I'm going to do something really creative, but not really driven by data. Or I'm going to do something really data-driven and programmatic and optimized. And the thing I think is, how do we actually find the intersection where we're using data and analytics to understand what people want, what people care about, and what they need, and actually, as brands, as marketers, listening to, responding, and solving those problems. And I think, again, the other key trend, just because you can doesn't mean you should. So as the price of content, the ease of content becomes more simplified, more and more brands are producing more and more content. This was a chart, some statistics from Ad Age. Brands produced 6 times the amount of content last year than ever before, yet content consumption remained flat. So let's just start pumping out more and more stuff because more and more people are going to listen. And the thing is basically what it's creating is noise, just deafening noise, where people are being overwhelmed by advertising to the point where they want to skip it. And the mindset, again, is I was in a focus group with 7 people, and people said blue, so I'm going to just hammer blue as hard as I can. And the analogy I always use is it's like walking into a bar to meet someone and saying, hey, I'm the best-looking guy in the room. I'm really, really smart and successful. You should be with me. That's how we market. As opposed to, hey, let me listen to you. What problem do you have? What do you need? And how can I best solve it? So how do we move from telling to solving? And for me, it's quite simple. We need to focus on actually how do we create prosperity? How do we add value to the people we interact with? What human problem are we solving? Again, 3.5 billion times a day, people are raising their hands. I want, I need, where is? #1 search on mobile phones, you know what it is? Where's Starbucks? People are looking for Starbucks. As a brand, wouldn't that be a good thing to know? How do we understand human problems? And I think, again, most importantly, and Mike talked a little bit about this before, the power of creativity. How do we actually create and use creative solutions to solve people's problems? And in solving people's problems and actually understanding their wants, needs, and desires, we can help our clients, we can help our brands grow because we're actually meeting the needs of the individual. So I wanted to do just 2 quick case studies to talk a little bit about that, and the first one is actually Samsung. Interesting, think about Samsung, was a brand with challenges. So Apple basically, most people think about Apple as dominating mobile phones. It's interesting, 72% of all mobile devices are actually on Android technology. But yet Apple has such a dominant presence. Here you have Samsung as a Korean manufacturer. How do they actually help and enable and connect with people? How do you help actually create that emotional connection by understanding what people want and care about? Other interesting thing for Samsung, Samsung ran the most effective, highest reach ad campaign in history with a public service announcement on every flight in America. 100% unpaid. Imagine as a brand, you have the worst PR disaster in history. I mean, every single flight, put away your Samsung phone. How do you solve that? How do you respond? And for Samsung, it was doubling down on basically understanding what helped people. And what we did is we actually spent time listening to consumers, understanding their needs, understanding their problems. And how do you have bold ideas that actually aren't just advertising, creative solutions to clients' problems? And I have a short video here that I'm going to share that basically introduces one of those ideas. So quite simple. What human problem are we solving? This was actually executed all across Latin America. How do we actually use and position the brand in a different way? Simple idea, simple solution. It was interesting. Part of the inspiration for this, I was president of Starcom Media Vest Group. We had done work with Coke. Basically, they found that the Coke trucks were one of the highest recognized, highest awareness vehicles. Makes sense, right? Place-based, high reach. How do we actually take this problem, feature high-definition flat screens, feature technology, and then basically this campaign was followed up with social media to extend the reach, solving people's problems. Other examples we had actually worked with hospitals with the ICU, where parents could actually have 24/7 access and actually the ability to communicate with the preemie baby. So again, utilizing Samsung technology as a way for parents to basically connect with their infant while they were in the hospital. Helping people, helping business, solving problems, and the results speak for themselves. Another example I wanted to share was Pantene, P&G, longtime partner of ours. If you think about hair care, and I know very little not having hair, but from what I've learned, highly competitive category, and one of the things we found is when do people actually switch? And the idea was one of the core triggers is actually having a bad hair day. And weather is the #1 trigger to actually create a bad hair day. So what did we do? We actually partnered with the Weather Channel to understand technology to actually have your daily haircast. And within this, we worked with Walgreens, we worked with Weather Channel, we worked with Google, we worked with mobile technologies where we could actually identify triggers by geography. We could send geo-targeted messages to digital devices, including digital out-of-home. We could link it to retail locations where Walgreens could actually feature products specific to the hair cast and basically pay that off in store. And again, I have just a short video to share on this.
Rain and humidity are pretty much the two worst things.
I end up looking like a wet cat.
My confidence was just totally ruined because of my hair.
If I go outside and it's really hot out or humid, it can tend to frizz up really easily. My halo of frizz goes up to here.
You feel like less than yourself. You feel like, I tried, but it looks like I didn't make an effort at all.
My weather app is on the front of my phone because I use it every single day.
We learned that women check the forecast first thing in the morning to see what the weather will do to their hair. So Pantene brought in the world's most popular weather app to deliver a geo-targeted Pantene hair solution to match the weather. When it was humid in Houston, we recommended the Pantene Smooth and Sleek collection for frizzy hair. When it was dry in Denver, we recommended the Pantene Moisture Renewal Collection for dry hair. Pantene had a product solution for every kind of weather across the country. The forecast proved right. 2 times more media engagement, 4% sales growth, a 24% sales increase, and a 100% chance of self-confidence, optimism, and sunny dispositions.
When I'm having a good hair day, I feel absolutely amazing. Like I have like a different walk when I have a good hair day. I just like stomp down the street. I feel like Beyonce.
I unabashedly take like a selfie.
And there's something really wonderful about that.
So, again, another example, what do we start with? You start with human understanding. What problem do you seek to solve? What is the existing consumer want, need? And then again, the thing I think is interesting is technology as enabler of solutions. How do we actually use technology to get the right message to the right person at the right time? How do we identify triggers? Triggers are basically in forms of behavior, in forms of geography, in terms of location, where we can actually create personalized content to consumers. And most importantly, the creativity. How do you actually provide creative solutions to people's problems that lead to transformational business results? So in closing, I think that we live in an interesting time where basically the intersection of technology, data and intelligence, and creativity is at the forefront of every marketer's mind. And I think the danger is that we over-rev on any one of those three and not respect the fact that we need technology and intelligence to understand what's important in people's lives. That every day people are basically sharing with us what problems they have, what interests they have, what solutions they need. And we need to be able to utilize technology to inform human understanding and intelligence. But then lastly, how do we actually provide creative solutions and utilize the power of creativity to solve people's problems? And my core belief is we live in an age where actually we can use tools, technology, intelligence, location-based communication, digital technology to reach people and solve the problems in ways we never have before. To actually be at the point of purchase, at the point of impact, at the point of issue. And our creative challenge is how do we understand all of the available resources so that we can inform them through creative solutions. So with that, I will stop. We have about 2 minutes left for any questions. But thank you all for having me today.
Thank you. Really well done.
Thank you.
Andrew, running an agency these days is different than just running a media shop, than just running a tech company. I mean, you've got creatives, you've got people that know media, your own experience in running a media shop. How do you empower people to kind of embrace all of the disciplines and work together when we become such a fractionalized business where everybody just knows their own niche? How does that work for you? And you've done done it well, evidently.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I think for me, the core challenge is actually having cross-trained athletes. And we talk about it actually as people with majors and minors. So it's interesting, if you look at the strategy department, I think, again, there were big divisions in terms of you had, you know, digital strategists and experience strategists and social strategists and brand strategists, and it's enough to make your head hurt.
Yeah.
And the thing for me is, you know, if you come back to the consumer, what we've been looking at is, you know, who are people who are basically building and creating consumer experiences, and then basically who are people who actually own the brand positioning and strategy. And within that, one department with majors and minors. We've also created within Leo Burnett a group called the Core. And basically the idea is the seed of every insight is human understanding. Leo Burnett, Apple's the Core, you get it. So the Core is now about 130 people who are focused on data and analytics. And the idea is their job is to inspire creativity. So again, I think with majors and minors, I don't expect all of our creatives to be technology experts. But in the same respect, I have technology experts who can say, hey, here's 10 interesting things we saw. How does this inspire work? How does this inspire solutions? How does this link with the client's product? That's
great. You've done a great job of that, and it's so key because I think we almost went to a place of unbundling too much, and you're bringing back those resources and cross-training people is a great way. Andrew, we do at DPAA, we do a lot of curated trips for our members, and we actually spent a lot of time at Cannes this year, where you met some of our members, and we had a great dialogue. In fact, the person we met a couple of years ago at Cannes, we had a nice dialogue as well as the T-Mobile fella coming up. So thank you very much. Let's give him a hand, and we're going to see a T-Mobile video.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.